Welcome to another Cycle at Coffee Time show. Good morning to all our viewers and welcome to this week's Coffee Time show. Our guest today is Fritz Pienaar from Paces Adventurance. I think that's correct.
That's correct.
They are the race organisers of the 947 ride Joberg. Fritz, thank you so much. You came all the way from Pretoria, stuck in a bit of traffic. It was almost a bit late, but we got you in, and thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. No, it's good to be here. Thanks a lot.
So the big day is coming. The mountain bike race this weekend and the road race next weekend. And I mean, are you guys ready? It must be chaos at the moment.
Yeah, it's very busy at the moment. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Okay.
We were unsure whether we're going to be able to host the event with the COVID regulations. Up until a couple of weeks ago, we had to present our plan with the COVID compliance to the Sports Ministry. We had great help from Cycling South Africa. Cisco Austin specifically assisted us greatly, and we got the approvals, and now it's all systems to go, and we're very excited.
Brilliant. Just in terms of that, those COVID regulations, what are some of those COVID regulations? Is the numbers limited this year? Let's maybe start with the mountain bike race, because they're completely two different races and it's actually happening this weekend.
Yes, so the mountain bike event we were able to split over 2 days. So the kids and the short event is tomorrow on Saturday, and then the main event, the 55 kilometer mountain bike on Sunday. Because each day is under 2,000 participants, we were able to get away without needing vaccination or COVID tests. So there it's just a simple screening process. You just arrive, we scan your board, we take your temperature, and you're ready to go. So nothing really formal to comply with. You still have to start with a mask and have a mask on afterwards at the venue. But apart from that, it's like the good old days. We're going to have a beer tent. We've got a couple of exhibitors, and it's a really fun course inside Steyn City. Then for the following week in the road event, it's a bit more complicated because there we've got about 13,000 participants at this stage, and because we're over the allowed regulations, our limit on the regulations, we have to unfortunately get people to either come with a vaccination proof or do a COVID test. That's just to make sure that they don't have more than 2,000 people any one day at any one venue without them being tested. So and then the rest of the rules are the same. You have to start with a mask and finish with a mask, but as soon as you start moving, you can take it off.
So the big day this Sunday, any big names out there on the start line of the mountain bike race that we must look out for?
So one of the things that we decided to do is to really up the prize money for both events, mountain bike and road bike event. And
that's also a massive topic that we're going to discuss.
Yes. So that attracts names, and obviously these events get a lot of coverage, and it's a big event, and it's also one of the first events back. So some of the strong road riders are also crossing over to the mountain bike. It's not the most technical course. So I've seen that Jock Hansen and Rensburg, for instance, has entered for both events. And we've got Wesselburg, Henry Liebenberg, a couple of the good mountain bikers also doing it, and some of the strongest ladies as well.
Let's dig a little bit into the route. What's the route looking like this year for the mountain bike race? Like you said, it's obviously not too technical. It's around Steyn City.
So we were able to fit the whole 55 kilometers into Steyn City, which means we doesn't have to go out to northern farms. It's very safe, it's very secure, and it's great fun. We actually, as a company, built about 5 kilometers of additional track, and then just help to equip some of the tracks, which also forms part of the permanent route. And it's such an awesome state. I mean, I've got so many open spaces. There's areas where you'll see game running around. It's actually difficult to believe that you're inside the city in the state when you see what's happening inside there.
It's amazing, guys. This is a live show, so if you do have any questions for Fritz about either the mountain bike race or the road race, please just drop them in the comment section on Facebook, and I'm sure Fritz will be able to answer them to the best of his knowledge. Fritz, race registration for the mountain bike race, whereabout is that?
That is from today at Steyn City.
Okay.
So you can either register today, tomorrow or Sunday. Most of our competitors already have their SAS boards with the QR codes. We're using the same boards that we've used for other Paces at endurance events like the Central Seeker. If you've got that, you can pretty much just arrive at the venue, just be there hour to 30 minutes before your start, and we'll scan you in quickly. So no need to specifically for mountain bike. Go out before get your race back, and then come back the next day or 2 days after. You can do that if you wish to, but you can also just arrive in the morning. If you've bought a board online, which also doubles your timing chip, we can just issue it in the morning as you arrive. Everything that you're getting this year on the mountain bike side is virtual. So you're getting vouchers, discount vouchers, and photo packages and things like that. So there's no need to go and collect something. If you climb out of your car with your bike and you arrive at the registration, you should be ready to go just after that.
You're good to go. So just a little COVID scan and you go to the start line and you can enjoy the day.
That's it. So we're really trying to simplify it and make it easy and convenient for the participants.
And there's enough parking at Steyn City,
There's lots of parking. I think there's a parking area that can fit about 5,000 vehicles. The only important thing is we're sending out a QR code to everyone that's entered the mountain bike event. They must show that at the gate. You can only use the Cedar Gate entrance at Steyn City, and the parking is really close to the Cedar Gate entrance. You'll see.
What does it feel after last year's COVID restrictions and not being able to put on the events to the scale that it's been in the past? What does it feel? Is it they're kind of like a big relief that all of this is going ahead?
Yeah, for us it's a massive relief. I mean, we've gone through a very tough time. I think everyone that's been part of events know that. And the recovery is still going to take some time because a lot of sponsors, and maybe rightfully so, didn't want to associate as a possible pandemic or a mass breakout event. So most of the sponsors pulled out. But steadily we've been able to get them back. We've been trying to always do the right thing with full refunds. Sort of try and get events back in a responsible way, and I think we've got that good support, especially from participants who's really hungry to get out there and do things again.
Moving on to the road race, let's chat a little bit about that. A new venue, a new start and finish area, a slightly different route. How's the new venue looking for the start and finish for FNB Stadium?
I'm very excited about the new venue. For us, we were looking for something that can handle all the logistics, and previously the event was in states that quickly became built up, meaning that it was becoming increasingly difficult to host it. The FNB Stadium is going to be around for many years to come. It's got parking for over 30,000 cars. So if we want to grow the event to where we want it to be, and that's the biggest time road event that we really want to take on Cycle Tour and see if we can grow this to the biggest event.
How many people have currently entered this year?
13,000.
13,000.
So we thought we were going to be restricted to 10,000. That was the initial indication. So we only took 10,000 entries initially. Then we got approval. Obviously with the batch starts for more people, and then we open it up and we get a further 33,000 entries.
And also, like I'm asked about the mountain bike race, there's enough space for parking. There's
lots. So with 13,000 people, we're not even going to fill half the parking spaces at the FNB Stadium. Also, the access routes to get there. I know a lot of people feel it's too far out.
Some people need their passports stamped. You're coming from the north. From the north
but
or
it's
west.
actually, I mean, we've been driving out there almost on a daily basis. There's such good access routes to get there from any direction. So whether you're going in the M1 or N1 or coming from the east, there's really good access roads. You're off the highway and you're at the stadium within a minute or two. Lots of parking, as I said, and it's safe. We've really made sure that there's great security. And I think there's going to be a special surprise for everyone, sort of a hero's welcome when they've done the race. It's going to be great.
And I think everyone's looking forward to it, to get out there. I mean, it's Joberg literally shuts down for the whole day, and cyclists just take over. Logistically, do you get some kickback from the non-cyclists? What goes into the logistics and the whole organisation to be able to get that right?
Yeah, so that is a big challenge. That has been most of our focus in the past 6 months, especially because of some route changes. We have to make sure that the residents know what roads are going to be closed. We have to make sure that no one around the route is unable to get from point A to point B.
Okay, why I love Joberg and living in Joberg, I am more typical Joberg
very carefully looking at the routes, putting up street signs, doing radio campaigns to notify people what roads are going to be closed, and then finding alternatives. So we've got information on the website. People can't, if they want to get to a certain point, of what roads are closed and what routes they'll be able to take. The Metro Police, the City of Joburg, they're one of the biggest partners, and there's no way that we can do it without them. And their buy into the event is really important, but they like the event. I mean, the event is all about Joburg. We're trying to get to show people the vibrance, the colour, the energy in Joburg, and show them that it's actually really a world-class city. So we've got really good support from all the soldiers.
How long before someone's start time should they arrive?
About an hour. We don't think it's going to be hold ups getting into the parking, but an hour gives you enough time to park, get your bike off the car, and get to the start.
Before we dive into the race route, race registration, how's that working this year? I know I think I got sent an SMS yesterday saying I must register for my slot.
Yeah. Okay. So because on the road event we have to enforce either vaccination or testing. Okay. If you're vaccinated, you need to upload a certificate or just come to the booker slot. So there's two things. The first thing is we have to manage how many people are on the venue at any one time. And for that reason, we had to divide people in slots. And there's two sort of booking systems. For the people that's vaccinated, they just basically book their slot and they look for the most convenient available slot. So book early while there's still slots hopefully in a time frame that's most suitable to you available. And if you're not vaccinated, you have to book for the testing. We're facilitating that at this discounted price of 250 Rand, which is something we're not making money off. We're just trying to get it as convenient as possible to the people that haven't been vaccinated yet. And we account for a certain percentage being vaccinated and unvaccinated together. We're still under the venue capacity.
Sure, that's brilliant. And in terms of an expo, is there something to expect in walking through?
There's still an expo, and there's some of the partners and suppliers that's going to be there. It's a slightly smaller expo than we did before. I think we've had sort of 100 exhibitors in the past. There's about 50 exhibitors this time around, but there is an expo and there's going to be some good stats.
Amazing. Let's dive into that route. It starts at the FNB Stadium. I do have the route reveal video, so let's bring that up. So it starts at the FNB Stadium, and you kind of make your way out of the south onto, I think, Nasrik Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so everything starts more south. That first sort of 11 kilometers that's on the screen now is just sort of touching on Soweto. We're not going through Soweto, but we're just going past it before we get onto the M1 and then onto the N1, heading direction north before we get up at Woodmead.
That looks like quite a little flowy down your
most of the first half is quite going to be really fast. If you're on the highway, it's mostly downhill until the furthest point, which is at Kailami. The halfway point of this year is exactly in Kailami, and then from Kailami you start climbing again. There's some steep climbs going out Main Road and then Witkoppen Road. Also, it's still undulating. Our King of the Mountain point is right on that point where you climb up to Witkoppen. Okay. And then there's still a couple of climbs coming back home, which means that it's going to change it up from previously. It's not necessarily going to be just a sprinter's race, but then again, from about 80 kilometers, it's really flat. So if there's sprinters that's close by and the guys doesn't really keep going hard, they'll probably get back in the bunch. It's going to be an extremely fast sprint down a Nasrik Road. It's about 1 kilometer. It's just a slight downhill straight road, so it should be safe. But it's going to be very fast, and obviously for the prize money, it's going to be hardly contested.
So let's touch on that. 200,000 Rand for the overall lady and overall men. 75,000 Rand for second and 15,000 for third. Something we don't see every day on the South African local racing scene. How do you guys get that right? What is the motivation to actually put that prize up?
Yeah, so when there was no racing, we realized that it's equally tough for the top athletes as it was for us as events company. And we decided to really try and give back. We, as a group, sponsor some of the top, especially ladies like Candice Law. And we're quite passionate about racing. As you know, I used to race. So we decided let's really put up a big prize money. That creates a bit of exposure for us, but it mostly creates an opportunity for the top riders to earn some decent income. And
in terms of attracting some riders, we see the likes of Brian Gibbons, Daryl Impey, Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg, all riders that have done the Tour de France this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's, well, Daryl, not necessarily Daryl due to his crash, but I mean, to attract those type of riders, it's going to be a massive battle out there on the road.
It's going to be a massive battle. It's going to be a massive battle, and we've seen that all the local teams also up in arms. I've had messages from guys saying that they're training like never before. So I'm sure it's going to be really hardly contested.
There's actually one of them.
Okay.
Yes. So In terms of just for the general cyclist out there, they obviously need to save themselves for the second part of the race according to that route map. Where's going to be the hardest section that someone needs to focus? I'm thinking probably Jan Smuts.
Yeah. So exactly the second part, because it is becoming a long day in the sun. For amateurs, it's going to be very hard in the second part of the race. So, and if you go out hard in the first half thinking it's easy, you're going to get a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
So for the amateurs, they must drink enough, eat enough, make sure they keep something in the tank. For the pros, I know they never hold back, so it's going to be flat out racing. But still, the second half can catch some people off guard, especially with the slightly more climb.
In terms of water tables and support out on the road, are you encouraging people from the communities to come out and support? Because obviously COVID regulations.
So we've got 8 big water tables, so it's about every 12 to 13 kilometers, and that's got water, coke, some food that you can. So and there's going to be a little bit of vibe. There's not the normal vibe zone or the normal spectator zone, and that's just because of COVID, and also because we needed to apply for a noise exemption certificate, and we only applied for the water points because up until very recently there was no spectators allowed. Now that there is spectators allowed, if someone wants to do something, my suggestion is the water point is probably the best point to be, but also we're only controlling the venue. The public roads, if someone wants to sit outside their house and support the event, they will.
Brilliant. So we make our way through Douglasdale, Jan Smuts, past the zoo. You said the last kilometre is quite fast into the finish. That section kind of from the top of Jan Smuts to that last kilometre, what's it looking like?
You get into the highway for a little while again.
So get back onto...
So you get back into the highway. There's actually a short 3 kilometres that's fenced off in the middle, where you're going to see the back markers are going to see the pros racing back towards the venue, which we think is going to be something special. It's obviously fairly wide. And then, as I said, the roads are closed and there is fencing in the middle. And then you turn off to Nasrick Road with about 2 kilometres to go, and you've got this straight road heading to the finish. There's a little bit of a bump in the road, which is not. It's just a little bridge over a railway, right before the finish. So if you see that coming up, you know there's only about 300 meters left. You go over the bridge and finish is right there. Just to notice, we know that the guys are going to be incredibly fast over the finish line. About 110 meters after the finish line, there's a left corner into the stadium.
So it mustn't go straight.
It could be. We will open some gaps, and if the guys are really fast, that they can go through. So it's not a hard fence that they'll crash in. But still, once you're over the finish line, especially the front guys, don't cheer too much and lift your arms, because within a couple of seconds you're going to have to turn. But yes, it's going to be very fast.
And then once someone's finished, there's obviously going to be refreshments and quite a nice vibe at the stadium. Have you set up for that? Or
we've been keeping it a bit of a secret, but I think maybe I should break a secret. But as everyone's finished, within 400 or 500 meters, they're actually going to turn and go down one of the tunnels, and they're going to end up on the pitch of the amazing S&B Stadium. I mean, it's our biggest stadium, can seat 94,000 people. So we're actually putting pitch coverings around. So people are riding on the pitch for about 400 meters. Obviously, that's after the finish, so it's a neutral zone. And it's incredible. Just the atmosphere in there and the size of the stadium. And then as you come out of the tunnel is where you're going to get all your refreshments and the chill zone on the outside of the venue. When people get into the stadium, we would just like them to keep moving. I know it's massive, and a lot of people are going to want to take photos and that. We're going to do that for you. We're going to take a photo of every participant in the stadium with a backdrop of the event. So just keep moving right through the stadium, because we can't really afford to have a bottleneck, especially in the tunnels going in and out of the stadium.
Quick question, have you allowed for e-bikers to take to the start line this year? Is there an e-bike category?
We have, in both the mountain and road. So in the mountain bike, they're starting in separate batches. So they're going off about 15 or 30 minutes, depending on which event you're doing, before the main race. And that's for them not to interfere with the main race. On the road, we are allowing e-bikes, and they will be batched according to the previous times, but we just ask that they don't interfere if they with any of the racing categories. And obviously you can't be seeded in any of the racing categories for the e-bike.
Yeah, and you obviously see it as something that's growing in the future, which is why you've opened it up.
Yeah, so we love it. We think it brings a lot of people to the events, get people to participate that won't normally be able to participate in these events, and yeah, it opens a whole new segment. Husbands and wives are not that serious because want to participate in the events. It gives them an opportunity to do that. So we like it. As long as it's safe, and as long as they don't interfere with the racing, we're happy with that.
Are there any other secrets that you can give to our viewers that will give them a little tip for race day? Obviously sunscreen, stay hydrated, get to the start early.
Yeah, no, we're just excited to host them. We've put a lot of effort into it. To the people that's skeptic, I would just like to say, give the new route and the new venue a chance. We really think it's going to be better. What we're trying to achieve here is to make it really iconic and to keep it consistent for many years. So we similar to other events like Cycle Tour, Comrades, or the big events where they compare the times year over year. We want to keep this consistent so people can compare their times from previous years, that they know if you ride a sub 3 hour, you're this sort of level of cyclist. And we also want to bring in things like a gold, silver, and bronze medal in the future. But for that, we need a venue that we can have for many years in consistency. Also, we think that the new venue and the new route shows the heart of Johannesburg. It shows what's really real. We touch on
and that's exactly what you want.
Yes, sure. It's especially for internationals as well. You don't just want it to be in the northern suburbs or sort of mid-range. We really showcasing all elements from the rawness of Soweto and to the beautiful streets, leafy streets in the upmarket suburb. You're seeing it all on this event, which in a very safe environment. So we really. So
no reverse routes in the future.
We doubt it. At the moment, the logistics need to go into the route and opening roads at certain times and getting out of reopening hours. It's going to be difficult to reverse it. I think we're going to stick with this route.
And keeping everyone safe. That's obviously a big priority.
It's a real balancing act of keeping everyone safe and making it super enjoyable, but then still managing the residents in the city of Joburg who we need to respect, that we don't close the roads and close the access for too long.
Amazing. Fritz, is there anything else you'd like to add on the 947?
Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for having me.
You say 13,000 people.
13,000 people. Maybe something I can add here is because of the lack of events in the last 2 years, the seeding was a challenge for us. Because to seed without results makes it really difficult. We don't seed on license times. We seed on previous results and ability. So if someone feels they seeded in the wrong batch, they can still come to the expo registration. At the moment, we cannot do it online because we've had a short time period where people can ask for a reseed. If they didn't do it in that time, we had to send them and get the envelopes printed and packed. At the moment, that process is happening. So if we seed them on the online database, it won't carry through to the printed material. But once it's printed at the expo, we can still do the reseed. We can do it there again. So any people that's got queries or reseeding, just come to the expo, you can do it there.
There we go. So guys, you can be reseeded. There's a message there from Craig from the Road Rangers. He's saying well done to Fritz and Faces for keeping Joburg on the map. Best of luck to them and the team.
Thank you.
So good luck.
Thank you. They do a great job for keeping cyclists safe as well.
Absolutely incredible. So thank you, Craig, for that comment. Just before we sign off, Fritz, beyond 947, is there any other events coming up that we should look out for from Faces?
Yeah, we've got a full calendar for next year, and
that's exciting.
I mean, most of our events are cycling related in any case. So the big events coming in January, we're starting with the King Price Trail Seekers again. First one going down 29th of January, and then the big gravel bike events for us, Race to the Sun and Race to the Sea, is starting in May and September, and those entries are open as well. So there's lots of quite a full calendar for next year.
So there's lots happening, guys, so get your entries in. So let's sign it off for today. I think we're almost 25 minutes in, so the shop needs to open. So Fritz, thank you so much for joining us. To everyone doing the 947 mountain bike race and the road race next weekend, good luck with your final preparation, and good luck, be safe, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Welcome to another Cycle at Coffee Time show.